To today's session, and I believe that we are going to have a great time today. So we'll just get into it and expect the other people to join us as we progress. I'd be really glad if we can all actually join with our laptops so that we can actually make this as hands-on as possible. So at any point in time, I could just call on anyone so that you can share your screen and then I can direct you, show you what to do. And as you do it, I believe that that's the best way that you can actually learn. Learn while you practice. Well, that works for me. So let's get into it. So yesterday we looked at if and then we looked at switch, right? And one of the things we established yesterday that if is a logical statement, right? And I want to just re-establish this again because it will help us when we are working with some if and some ifs and the other if aggregation conditions, right? So we are saying that we want to um, again let's just use another thing aside the total price. Let me see. Okay, so let's look at the discounts, right? If there is a discount, tell us yes. So when we look at this, we realize that um, the transactions without a discount or the sales without a discount are zero, right? So it's a two-way thing. So it's either yes or no, right? It's like somebody asking you, have you eaten? There are only two outcomes. It's either you've eaten or you've not eaten. So you can't say I've partially eaten. Like you've actually had something to eat, right? So you've eaten. So it's either yes or a no. So now the logical function in the food argument would be, have you eaten? So if you have eaten, tell me yes. Otherwise, tell me no. Or if you have eaten, tell me food. Otherwise, tell me no food. So that's how the if function works. So it's a logical function that you bring. You write an argument, a logical argument that if something has happened, then Excel should give you one of two outcomes, right? And then the ifs argument too is likened to, let's say, somebody is now asking you, which food did you eat? If you have had rice, tell me rice. If you have had beans, tell me beans. So it is multiple conditions. So if is just two outcomes, one condition, two outcomes. But then ifs, that is IFS, is multiple conditions, right? And then multiple outcomes. So that's the difference between the two. So let's just quickly look at the if function again. So equal to if, right? So again, remember what we spoke about the syntax. So you realize that the logical text here is in bold, right? So if that is whatever is in this cell, so think of it as as a story building, right? Or as a house. So H2 is a house. All of these cells are houses. So you are saying that look at this house, right? And tell me if what is in this house is greater than zero, right? That means, comma, there has been a discount. Okay. Otherwise, no discount. Okay, no discount. So what this basically means is that anything that is greater than zero means that we have given a discount. If it is not greater than zero, that is zero. I mean, that zero is the only other option here. So it means that there is no discount. So when we press our enter, you realize that there is no discount. Okay. Now, when we drag this formula, what we are telling Excel is that now you have looked at this particular house, this H2. So when you get to H32, do the same thing. When you get to H42, do the same thing. Run the same logic. When you get to, so you realize that in H4, there is the discount there is 0.1. So meaning that there is a discount because it is greater than zero. So that's basically how the if function works. So I just needed to establish that again before we move on. So we wouldn't be looking at switch again, all right? So now let's come to these questions. So what is the total sales? That's the question we want to answer here. What is the total sale? And the function we will use is the sum function. So we can actually come here, come to formula, and then come to I'm not I don't really use this, but let's see. So we come to sum. Okay, let me make it easier for you in the best way I can easily explain. Okay, so just type equal to SUM, open the brackets, right? We want to know the total sales, right? So now we have opened the brackets. So we have to enter the numbers, right? So now we'll come back to this sheet, click on data sets. We can find the total sales here. That is the total price. So we'll click on this first one. We'll do control. We press and hold control, hold shift while we are still holding the control, and then we'll press arrow down. Okay. We close the brackets. It is very important to close the brackets, and then we press our enter. Then we get our total sales. Any question? Or we've all gotten it? Okay. All right. I've gotten one positive response. Anyone else? Are we good? Okay. So if there is no objection, I'll assume that we've gotten it and then we can move on. So that is how we work with sum, right? So let me just take it again. So equal to the function is SUM, that is sum. So he's saying that adds all the numbers of add all the numbers in a range of cells, right? So we open the brackets, come to data sets. We are looking at total price, right? So click on the first one. Control while we are holding, we'll press and hold control, press and hold shift. So now we are holding control and holding shift. Then we'll press arrow down. We close our brackets and then enter. Now let me show you what happens if you don't close the brackets. Let's do this. Because we are pulling the information from another sheet, what is likely to happen is if we come back here, it is going to jump into this current sheet we are in. So if we close this bracket and press enter, we will not get an answer. Because now what is running is that the data set we are trying to add up is in cell is in column J, right? So it's in column J. So what happens is that now it has come to this sheet and it is trying to sum up what is in this particular sheet in column J, whereas that is not where we have our data sets. So and that actually happened just because we didn't close the bracket before we left that particular sheet. So I'll just do it again. Equal to sum, open bracket. Or if you type equal to sum, you can just press tab and automatically to open the brackets for you. Okay, so we'll come back here, click on the first one, control shift and down, close the brackets, enter, and then we get the total sales. All right. So now we want to answer the next question. What is the total sum of laptops sold? We want to know how many laptops were sold. So this is a condition, and the condition is the laptops, right? Because if we look at it, this data set, we have different products, but we want to know the laptops alone, how much how much sales did we make? So we are telling Excel that we are assuming that this particular data set is a story building, right? And then we want to know that in this entire story building we have different houses, so which are the cells, right? So this entire thing is a story building, and then this is one house, one house, one house, one house. So we are telling Excel that we want to know in each house, in each cells, how much is the total sales of only the laptops. So what we want Excel to do is that Excel go to all the houses, all the cells, and bring together, add up the sum of the sales of laptops. So this is what we are going to do. We are going to write the function, write equal to sum if, okay. So open the brackets. Now it is saying that what is the range? The range is basically where we can find laptops. Okay, the range is where we can find laptops. So it's like saying there is a store somewhere, there is a story building somewhere, and in that story building, they sell laptops and different other different things. But then we want to know the where the laptop is being, the house in which the laptop is being sold. So we are saying that which particular house can we find the laptops in, or which particular story building can we find it in? We can find it here. So this is the range in which we can find it. So we'll come and click on this first cell and then Control Shift and down again. Okay, Control Shift and down, and then we'll bring a comma. Now, what is the criteria? What is the criteria? The criteria here is laptops. The criteria here is laptops. Now we've looked at where we can find the laptops. Now, what are we actually looking for? What do we want to sum? So what we want to sum is laptops. So we remember, if you are bringing in a text in a function or a formula, you bring it in double quotation, right? So now we type laptops. Okay, laptops. Now we'll bring another comma. So sum range. In which range can we find the sums of the laptops sold? In which range? So now we'll come back to this data set and then we come here. So now all the sales are in this particular range. Okay. So again, the first range is where we can find the laptop. The criteria is a laptop itself. And now the sum range, the sales that we have made, where can we find them? So we can find them here. So we'll do our Control Shift and down again. So now we are saying that compare this house, laptop in this house to the laptop sales in this house. So compare the laptop here in this cell to the sum in this cell. Okay. So close the brackets, enter. Um, what is the issue here? Okay. Okay. So let me see what I am getting wrong. Let me see. So equal to sum if. All right. I can find my range here. Okay. And I'm looking for laptop. And then the sum range is here. So close my bracket and enter. Okay. All right. So I think the reason why I got that feedback was because I should have just brought the laptop in before I came back to this particular cell, to this particular sheet. Okay. So let me just go over this again for us to get it clearly. So I'm going to zoom in a bit more. So equal to sum if. Okay. Now we'll come here because our range is here. Okay. So Control Shift down, we highlight. Then we bring a comma and then we bring in laptop. So now note, if you type laptops instead of laptop, it will not give you an accurate answer because when you look at the data set, it is laptop that is there and not laptops. Okay. So comma, and then the sum range is here. Bring it close the brackets, enter, and then we get our answer. Are we good? Are we clear? Okay, then it's anyone else? Okay, okay. All right. We're good to go. Thank you. Thank you. So now let's move on. Let's go to some ifs. Now, the question we want to answer is what is the total sum of phones sold by store A? So now we have two criteria, right? In the first, in the sum if, we looked at one criteria because if with if alone, you are looking at only one single criteria. But with ifs, you are looking at multiple criteria. So now when we come back to the data set, okay, so you see we have the question was what is the total sum of phones sold by store A? So we have product, which is phone, and then we have store location, store A. So D is a criteria, product is a criteria, store is another criteria. So phone is one criteria, store A is another criteria. So now we are using the same logic, okay? So equal to some ifs this time. So realize that this time it is asking us of the sum range first. When we're doing the SUMIFs, the sum range came last. But in this case, we are bringing the sum range first. And the reason is because there are more than one criteria. So it's best we just we do the sum first and then we bring the other multiple criteria. So now let's start. So we come here again, total price. We highlight the whole thing, then comma. So what is our first criteria? Our first criteria is phone. So first criteria range. So we are going to highlight where we can find the phones, which is our first criteria. And then now we are going to type phones. So because now it's saying criteria one, okay? So phone and then another comma. So now second criteria. So the second criteria range is store A, okay? So now we highlight the part where we have store A. That is the range in which we can find store A. So control shift and down again. So comma, and then our second criteria is store A. Close it with double quotation. Now close the brackets, enter, and then we get our answer. So it means that store A alone sold phones worth 122,770. Now, what we can easily do here is that we can just change this to tablets, okay? Tablet. And then it's going to tell us that this is the amount of tablets sold by store A. And then we can even change this again to B. And then it's going to tell us that this is the amount of tablets sold in store B. So basically that is how SUMIF works, okay? So phone, and then it gives us a different answer. And then store A, and then it gives us our initial answer. Please, is this clear enough? Can we move on? Or I should take it again? Okay, okay, all right. Positive, positive, positive. Thank you. All right. Now let's move on. Let's go on to count. So we want to know how many numbers are in column D. So let's see, what do we have in column D? So column D is quantity, right? Quantity. So equal to count. So it tells us that count the number of cells in a range that contains a number. So when we just open these, all we just have to do is come here and then highlight this whole thing, close the brackets, enter. So we can just see that there are 1,500 transactions in that particular range. So if we come here and we delete one of these and we come back, you realize that it has changed to 1499. So if our stakeholders have told us that there are 1,500 transactions, 1,500 sales, and then we run our count and then realize that there is something missing here, we can easily know how many uh, what is missing. All right, we can easily know what is missing. And then the same thing, count blank to count blank. Count blank basically tells us the range, how many cells are blank in a certain range. So it tells us how many cells are blank in a certain range, okay? So if you close this, enter. So you see now the total is 1,500 and then the blank is 1. So if I come back here and then I delete another thing here, excuse me, and then I delete another thing here and I come back here, it's just going to tell me that so there are two blanks, 1,498 um, numbers in that particular range. So that's how count and count blank works. So count blank helps you to easily know how many cells are blank in a particular range. So I'm just doing Control Z to bring back my numbers. So that's how it works. So now let's go to COUNTIF. COUNTIF is asking the question, how many tablets were sold? How many tablets were sold? This time we are not trying to get the sum of the sales. We just want to know individually how many of these or how many times did tablets pop up in the entire thing. How many times did tablets pop up? So we are just going to start, and then we give it a go, and then we'll say that um, equal to, okay, count if, okay, and then we open our bracket. So now you realize that when we're doing the sum if, it says that range criteria in sum range. But this time, because we are not working with sum, there is no sum here. It just wants to count. Okay. So now let's go to where the range in which you can find tablets, right? So we are going to highlight all of these, Control Shift and down, comma, and now the criteria is tablets. The criteria is tablets, double quotation, close and enter. So realize that we sold 240 tablets. We sold 240 tablets in the entire transaction. All right. We sold 240 tablets. So that's how COUNTIF works. Now, COUNTIFS, the same logic. So equal to COUNTIFS. So it means that there is more than one criteria, right? So in this case, it is chair and then store B. So now we'll come back again. We'll highlight all this. Okay. And then we type our chair, right? Comma. So the second range is where we can find store B. So highlight this, comma, and then store B, double quotation, close bracket, enter. So now it's telling us that 50 chairs were sold in store B. 50 chairs were sold in store B. Okay. Are we good to go? Is it clear enough? Okay. Okay. So when you just follow it, it's the same logic. When you come to average to, it's the same thing. So it says equal to, right? Average. Now we want to find the average sales first. So basically what we'll just do is we'll just come to where we can find the total price, okay? So Control Shift down again, close the bracket, enter, and then realize that our average sale in the entire our average sale is 2,919.99. That's our average sale. That's our average sale, okay? Because when you look at this, you see that there are small transactions and there are large transactions, okay? But then averagely, we are selling 2,919 in the entire stores, okay? Now, average ifs is the same. So we want to know what is the average sale of desks, right? What is the average sale of desks? So in this part, we are looking at the range and then the criteria, okay? The range and then the criteria. Let me see. So we can find desk here, okay? All right, comma, and then desk, and then average range. Okay, close the bracket and enter. So this is the average sale of desk. Okay, so we have our average sale of desk, and the same thing applies just like what we did earlier. So equal to average ifs. So what is the average online sales in the north? So we have two criteria, but then the first is that because we are doing average ifs, the average range has to come first. So where we can find this, Control Shift and down, and now we want to know average online sales in the north, right? So we come here, let me see, north is here. So Control Shift down, comma, and then north, we type north, and then we come here again. We're looking at sales, right? The payment method, and then online, close the bracket. Now, let me just draw your attention to something. If um the criteria range we are bringing first is where we can find online, we cannot come and say the criteria now will be not. So yes, will be not because they don't align. So it is where you can find something. That thing you are looking for in that particular range, that is your immediate next criteria. So you cannot mix them up. You cannot mix them up. So now, these are average online sales in the north. These are average online sale in the north. And then we want to look at our minimum sale. Okay. Then we type equal to min, min, and then we come here, we highlight the total prices, and then it shows us so it's telling us that 6.97 was our minimum sale, and then our maximum sale will also be found here. That will be this, and enter. So our maximum sale was 11,000 and 77. Okay, so that was our maximum sale. Yes, so basically those are the aggregate functions. Those are the aggregate functions. Any question? Does anybody need a clarification as at this point? Please let me know so that um Roy, what do you want me to take again? Kindly let me know. I just saw your message. What part do you want me to take again?
The whole show.
Wow. Should I go over the whole thing again?
Please, I'm just kidding. Oh,
Roy, are you still there?
No, no. Yes, I'm here. Is there some ifs? There's some
Okay.
ifs.
Just the SUMIFs, right?
Yes, only the
Are
some
you
ifs.
are you good with the SUMIF? Or I should take the two again?
No, just the ifs. The one with ifs, not the
Okay.
if.
All right. So now this is what
Yeah.
we're saying. Equal to, see the way you did the SUMIF, right? Now it's the same logic. Equal to
Yes.
SUMIFs. Okay. Now in this case, you realize
Okay.
that in the SUMIF, you brought the range, and then you brought the criteria, and then you brought the sum range. But now, because
Yeah.
the SUMIFs, it has more than one criteria. So we want to bring the range first, so that after bringing the sum range, right, the part in which we'll find the sums, right, we can now
Yeah.
bring as many criteria as possible. Do you
Hmm.
follow? So you see, the Excel
Yes.
syntax is already guiding you. So now when you come to your data set, you just come and highlight the part where you can get a sum. Okay, then you bring your comma. So now,
Okay.
what was the question we're trying to answer? Can you check for me? Okay, so
Oh,
the question is, what is the total sum of phones sold by store A? So so now we have two criterias, because when we look at this data set, we have products, and then we can find phone under products. Okay, and then we have store location.
yeah.
So store A, B, C, and D are under store locations, right? So the store is another criteria. Okay, so now we write our formula again, equal to some ifs. Okay,
Okay.
so the sum range is here. Okay, then comma. So the first criteria range is this, where we can find our phone, comma, and then we bring a phone in double quotation. Okay, then we bring a comma,
Okay.
and now the range in which you can find store A, we'll highlight that as well, bring a comma, and then we'll bring store A as the criteria too. Do you follow?
Yes.
Right
Yes.
now. So when we press enter, we'll get our answer.
Okay. All right.
Are
Thank
are
you.
you good?
Yeah, I'm good.
Okay, awesome, awesome. All right. Is there any other question about this part?
No, I'm okay. I'm good.
Okay, okay, awesome. All right, so now let's move on. So we are done here. We should have finished this yesterday, but we couldn't. So now let's start with the theory proper. Let's start with day 3 proper. So let's look at sorting first, and then we'll come to basic filter. We'll do advanced filter, then we'll come back to data validation and VLOOKUP and the others. So let's go to sorting. All right. Now, what what do we benefit from using sorting? Sorting is one of the tools we can use to analyze our data, because sorting helps us to arrange our data sets in a certain organized manner that we would like to see. Okay. Now we can say that we have these data sets and then we have phones, laptop, chairs, but then we want to see all of the phone transactions first, or we want to see, or by the product category, we want to see all the office supplies, or we want to see payment method, all the cash, right? Or we want to see according to our review rating. Okay. So we can, sorting can be done in different ways. So now where we can find sorting is by going to data. It's also here under the at the editing part. You can also see it here, but let's just come here under data, the data tab, and then we come to sort and filter group here. So now we'll come to sort. Okay. So one important thing to note is that it is very good when you are working with a data set that your data should have headers, right? So customer ID, product, and the likes, that are your headers, right? And they help you to be able to look through your data sets very well. So now we want to sort by, so we can sort by different categories. So the first thing we want to do is we want to sort by product. Sorry, we want to sort by product. All right. So A to Z. So we'll click OK. Now you realize that it is bringing all of the chairs um details first, and then when we move on, because it's beginning from C. So when we move on, we move on, we move on, then we see D, which is desk, and then we move on and on and on and on like that. So that's one way to sort. Okay. And then another way we can also sort, maybe let's say we want to sort by review rating. Okay. But this time we want to see the highest reviews first. Okay. So now you see that the highest rating review is 5. So now it's bringing all of the transactions that had the highest rating first. Okay. Now we can sort by these. There is another thing we can do with sorting, which is we can add a level. Now we want to look at the review rating, but after the review rating, we want to look at the product with the highest prices. Okay, we want to look at the total price. So now, after you have sort them by the review rating, sort them by the price. So all of the review rating that has 555, even if you are sorting that, sort it by the highest amount first. Okay, sort it by the largest amount first. So now when we click OK, you realize that now the highest amount is coming first. Okay, is this accurate? Yes, it should be. It should be accurate. I've pressed something I shouldn't. Okay, let me just do this. All right, sure. So now when we look at this, we have sorted by 2 levels now. We have sorted by the review rating, which means that the rating with the highest, which is 5, will come first. And then we have added another level, which is that the highest prices according to the review rating should come first. So now you see that 6,000 is coming, 5,007, 5717, 5705. So now we've added another level to our sorting. So now if we want to remove a level, we just come here, or we can just click on this and then we bring it to the top. So total price will come first, and then the review rating should come next. So when we click OK, so you realize that it is bringing the highest prices first. But you realize that according to the hierarchy, the review rating has to come before the total price, because when we switch it, it's not really making much sense. The total price is taking preeminence, but then we are not really seeing the review rating because the way we want to see it. So that is another thing to note. So we can just click on this and then we can arrange it back So review rating comes first, total price comes next, and then we click OK, and we are good to go. So that's how to so we can just delete this level. It's gone. We click OK, and then we are back to the review rating. We can also sort again by say we want to sort by let me see, payment method. Okay, and then after the payment method, we want to see um the quantity, the quantity, the quantity. Okay, so let's look at this from A to Z, and then the quantity from largest to smallest. Then we click OK. So now you realize that it's bringing cash, right? With the highest quantity of 8 coming first. And then when we go through, then we see that now cash 7 quantity is coming. And then when we move on, cash quantity 6. So basically, those are the things you can do with sorting. Okay, those are the things we can do with sorting. It's very straightforward, but then it actually helps you to quickly analyze your data. So that's it with sorting. Any question on sorting? Are we good to go?
Yeah, no questions from me.
Okay, awesome. Awesome. All right. So now let's move on. Let's come to filter. So we want to look at a basic filter. There are different aspects of filter that we can look at. So the first thing we do is to come to the header, and then we come to data again. And then the moment we click on filter, we would see these icons showing. All right. So we can so we can filter by the date. Okay, so we can say date filter between a certain range. So we see that it's 2021 and 2022. We can say that we only want to see from 01/01/2020 to 2021 to 31/12/2021. So automatically it's going to take out all of the things relating to 2022 in our data set. So that's one way we can filter with data, with dates, sorry. Excuse me. So we can just clear filter here. If you want to remove the filter that we have done, we can just click on clear filter. Then we can come here again. We can uncheck this and then expand this, and then say we want to see 3rd January 2022 alone. We click OK, and then we are going to see the information shown to us. So the thing with filter is that the more it's very easy and straightforward, you can easily play around it and you're good to go. Another way you can also filter is by text filter. Okay, you can filter by text. So you can say a text that contains not. So the moment you click OK, so it's going to bring anything that it sees not in it, it is going to bring it out for you. So if you have a data set, I mean, say like descriptions, and then you're looking for somebody's name in that entire place, you can just filter, type the name, and it's going to bring out all the situations in which the person's name has occurred for you. So we can just clear this again. Okay, we've looked at name. So another thing we can also do is, let's say we do a conditional formatting. Okay, let's highlight this. Let's play around this a bit. So let's say we want to highlight something that contains north. Okay, then we click OK, and now we come here. So you see something here. It says filter by color. Filter by color. Anything that you have colored is going to bring all the colors here. So we can just click on this, and then you see it's going to show us everything that is filtered according to that color. So if you're working in a data set and you have colored them out, you can easily bring them out by the color. So no fill. So anything that has no fill or no color, it is going to filter them out. So we can clear filter here again, and we can also clear our conditional formatting. Okay, so another thing is also number. So number filter, say anything greater than 200, show me. Okay, let me see. 200 is not so significant. Anything greater than um say 1000. Okay, so all of the things that are greater than 1000, it is going to bring them out here. So you can look at another thing, anything less than 300. Okay, so now it's showing us all the things that are less than 300. We can also look at what is less than or equal to 300, in which case if there is anything relating to 300, it is going to pop out. It is going to pop out. Let me see. Okay, so let's use 600. Okay, so less than or equal to 600. So you realize that we have 600. But if we had said less than 600 alone, you realize that 600 will not come. 600 will not come. So that's another way to work with this. That's another way to work with this. So that's basic filter for you. That is basic filter for you. It's easy, and then you can easily get your information out. Any question here? So can we move on? Are we good to go? Awesome. Thank you. Now let's go to advanced filter. Let's go to advanced filter. Now we have this data set, okay? And then we want to bring out all the people who are from South Africa. We want to filter them out alone. We don't want to filter them and then they will still be in this data set and then we'll be working with them in this data set. No. So we want to write a function, okay? So type equal to filter, open our brackets, and then we select the array in which you can find it. Let me start from here, comma. It includes, so the include is the country, right? Where we can find the country. So we are going to highlight this whole thing, okay? We're going to highlight this whole place. Include equal to the name of the country. We'll close the brackets, enter, and then everything pops up. Are we good? Or I should go over again?
Yes, please.
Okay, all right. So let me just go over again. I don't know. It's likely that if you are not using the latest Office or Office 365, you are likely not to have the filter function. You are likely not to have the filter function. So let's just go over again. So we say equal to filter, right? Equal to filter, and then we highlight the entire array in which you can find the entire information. Okay. Then we'll bring a comma. Include. So it should include. So what we're looking for is all the people in this country alone. We want to bring them out. So we'll highlight this entire part where we can find the country, including the heading. Okay. Then it should be equal to, right? Equal to the country. We can come and type South Africa here. Africa, right? And then we close our brackets, enter, and then it's going to pop them out. It's going to pop them out. Another way we can do this is assuming you don't have the filter function, you can come to data, then you come to advanced. Okay, come to advanced. So now it's going to ask you, do you want to filter in a place? No, we want to copy it to another location, right? So list range. So we'll highlight this entire place, okay, and then the criteria range. The criteria is South Africa, okay, and then we want to copy it to here. Then we click OK. No, 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 no. That's not it. Let me see. Um, that's not it. Okay, let me see. Advanced. Okay, copy to another place. Criteria. Okay, okay. I think I get what is going on. So with if we want to use the command, right, we have to bring this heading here and then we paste it here. So now we can just do this again. Advanced. Okay, we already have this highlighted. So the criteria range will be, we are going to select these two. So the country and then the heading and then the country, right? And then we want to copy it to, where do we want to copy it to? We want to copy it here, or let's say here. Click OK, and then we are good to go. Are we good? So there are two ways to do the advanced filter. So we can use the function or we can use the command, which is this, the advanced. Should I go over again? Okay, so let me go over. Let me close this and open it again. Okay. Now the first way to do this is by using the function, which is the filter function. So we type equal to filter, open the bracket, right? Now the array is this entire place, right? And then we'll bring a comma. You should include this this particular range, both the heading and then where we can find South Africa. And then it should be equal to this South Africa. We can equally type South Africa and put it in double quotation, or we can just reference this cell. Okay, and then we are good to go. Just close our brackets, enter, and then it's going to pop out everything, all the people from South Africa alone. All the people from South Africa alone. That is what is going to pop up. And then the other way we can do this is by using the command, the advanced filter command. So we come to data and then we come to advanced. But before we do that, we have to bring this heading, which is the country, right above this. Okay. And now we can now use the advanced, go to advanced. The filter list in place means that if we finish the filter, we should filter it in this particular place, but that's not what we want. We want it to be out. We want it to be in another location. So we just click on copy to another location. So the list range is basically this whole thing, right? And then the criteria range is the heading and then the item we want to filter out, right? And then where do we want to copy it to? We want to copy it to this particular cell. We click OK, and then we have it. Okay, so we are good, right? Awesome, awesome. Now let's go to the double criteria. Now we want to look at people who are in South Africa, but they are also only into manufacturing. So it's the same logic. We are starting with the same logic, equal to filter, right? The entire array, okay, comma. It should include now country and then the entire country, and then it should be equal to this, okay, plus, we bring a plus. Now the industry, okay, and then all of the industries, and it should be equal to this, which is manufacturing. And then we close our brackets and enter. Now, the reason why this will not come is because we have to put this in brackets. We have to put this in brackets and these also in brackets. I think that should be it. Enter. Okay. So now, what is happening here is that it is bringing in, it is giving us those who are into manufacturing and all of those who are in South Africa. So we are adding the two together. Um, let me see if this works. And no, times no. There's a way. How is this done? How is this done? How is this done? Is this it? Nope. Okay, so it's just a plus, right? Okay, now so it's just giving us those who are in South Africa and also those who are into manufacturing. Okay, so that is what is giving us here. That is what is giving us here. Let's look at how we can do that with um advanced filter. I haven't really tried it before, but the beauty of Excel is you can always try and see if it is going to work. So what I'll just do is I'll cut this and bring it here, and I'll just copy the two headers and paste it. And now I'm going to give it a short. List range is still these places, and the criteria range will be, so the criteria range, I'm going to select the whole thing, and then I'll see if it's going to give me the feedback. Copy to here. Okay. Nah, it didn't work. It didn't work. It didn't work. It didn't work. That's fine. So it means that we'll just use the filter function. It means that we'll just use the filter function. All right. Okay. All right. So should I take this again, or we are good? Are we good?
I'm good from my side.
Awesome. 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 Thank you. Now, when we write the function, right, we realize that the header is not coming. It is only bringing out the data. So what we can just do is that we'll just come here, right behind filter, right? And then we'll type VStack, VSTACK, right? We'll open the brackets once, and then we'll come to the end of what we already wrote and close the brackets and press enter. That should work. That should work. Okay, let me see. Array is this. Okay, comma. Okay, so that's it. That's it. That's it. So now so basically what I just did was that I want to bring in the header, right? So there is a code to use to do that, a function, sorry, and it is called VStack. So I'll bring in VStack, open the bracket, and then I am going to highlight all the headers. So from rank all the way to worth, and then I'll bring a comma, and then I'll come to the end here, and then I'll close the bracket. So the number of times you open a bracket will determine the number of times you are going to close it. So I have bracket open 1, 2, 3, yeah, 1, 2, and 3, right? And then 4. And then I've closed it 1 here. So it's left with 3 closing. So 1, 2, 3. Okay. So I've done that. So I press my enter, and then my headers will come. My headers will come. And now the next thing, I think we'll just wrap up on this, and then we would start with um, data validation and the lookup functions tomorrow. Okay. So now what we can do, let's say that I just want the name of the person and then the person's net worth. I want just the name and then the net worth. I don't want these other things. What I'll just do is I'll just come behind VStack, and then I'll write choose calls. So choose calls, right? So open, right? And I would say this is all of these things I've written from VStack to the end here. is the array, and then I'll bring a comma. So name is column what? So this is column. So this is column 1. So name is column 2. So I'll bring 2, comma, and then the worth is what? Column 1, column 2, column 3, column 4, column 5. So I'll bring 5, and I'll close the bracket, enter, and then it's just going to show me the name and then the worth. Are we good, or I should take it again? Are we good?
So please, why is it that they choose you didn't begin with the bracket?
Yeah, it began with the brackets. So the bracket is right after the COLS. So the bracket comes here. So after every function, a bracket opens.
Okay.
Yeah. And then at the end of the 5, so I brought another bracket to close it.
Okay.
Yeah. So any other question? All right. So if there is none, tomorrow we'll be doing data validation, and then um let me see. That will be data validation and lookup functions, right? And then we'll do pivot table as well. We'll do pivot table. We'll do pivot table. And then on Friday, I'm bringing in a colleague of mine who is very good at data visualization with Excel. So he's going to be taking us on Friday. I mean, the psychology of choosing colors, how to align things, how to bring this in shape, and how to, get a very nice um, visualization for your data in Excel. So he'll be taking us that on Friday. So it is likely we might have a bit of an extended session tomorrow and then Friday. I'm not saying definitely, but there might be that possibility. So let's see how it goes. So tomorrow we'll look at pivot table after we look at data validation and the lookup functions. We'll look at pivot table, how to analyze, and so we'll wrap up with visualization on Friday. So thank you very much for um, showing up today, and God willing, would continue tomorrow. So have a good evening, everyone.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.